Marketing at destinationbrian.com. Marketing at destinationbrian.com.
Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. My name is Matt Harvey. I am the founder and lead investigator of Deep Woods Paranormal. I am also the host of the Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. And today we're going to be basically kind of talking about a lot of different things. We're going to cover some housekeeping and then going into some other things. So, anyways, I wanted to give everybody kind of a bigger view of the office. The mess behind me on the table is because of all the filming we've been doing, using multiple cameras, different types of gear and stuff as we go and try and film the cattle mutilations. So that's what we've been up to. I apologize for the lack of podcasts lately. We've been so busy chasing down possible UFOs and other things that we haven't had a whole lot of time to do podcasts. And yeah, you're looking behind me. There are some aliens behind me and some dogs coming in and out. If I close that door, they'll go absolutely nuts. I'll get scratched on and whined at and stuff till I open the door. So better for them just to come in and out. I want to talk about the show a little bit. We're almost done with our first episode. We've been invited to so many places now. We've got like 5 or 6 different shows we're possibly going to be setting up here in the next little while. Apologize for bouncing the camera around there. I'm trying to scoot back so I didn't bump the camera, but I'm still bumping the camera. Anyways, so yeah, we will be finishing up the cattle mutilation case here, hopefully this weekend. There's some shots that we still need to go back and get. I had no idea how involved it was. I've done numerous YouTube videos over the years. I've been doing YouTube since 2010 or something like that. My other account just basically disappeared off there with almost 60,000 viewers or something. Whatever it was. Anyways, wish I had that page monetized. I would have been a full-time YouTuber right now. Anyways, all right. So yeah, we are working on that. We're being contacted by places we've been in the past. We're working on finishing, like I said, wrapping up the cattle mutilations, and then we're going to get back into Bigfoot research as much as possible. Like I said in the previous, podcasts, the show's mainly going to be a Bigfoot show, but we're going to investigate everything paranormal. So we're working on getting back into a hotel that we have had. It's probably the most haunted hotel I've ever been in. Again, it's in the Brazos Valley. And we're going to talk about the Brazos Valley again today because I want to talk about these cattle mutilations just a little bit more, and then we're going to let it go and move on to other things as we finish stuff. And then we'll be talking more about the show and what's going on with the show and stuff like that in the future. And of course, that will involve Bigfoot for all my Bigfoot fans, which seems to be about 90% of you. Also want to stop and thank you to all the new subscribers, both on YouTube and on Rumble. Welcome to the page. I appreciate you subscribing, and we'll get more investigations out here shortly. The shows are going to be more like what you see on TV, if you haven't heard this already. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to try and go back and, hit those spots where people are saying, well, I wish they would have done this. I wish they would have done that. Why didn't they go running in after the Bigfoot? Why didn't they go trying to debunk that noise? Stuff like that. So we're going to take all those concerns that people have had, about current TV shows, and we're going to take the stuff we like from all the shows that we really like. Expedition Bigfoot. Expedition Bigfoot, I think it's called. And then, the Finding Bigfoot, because people really like that show too. Most people, some people didn't. But, excuse me, my nose is going crazy here. Anyways, and then we'll add in some ghost hunting, some UFO research, and then basically anything else that is basically unknown or paranormal in nature, we will be adding it in. I've got about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, about at least 4 or 5 Bigfoot locations I want to hit. We have a couple of 3 possible hauntings that we're going to go check out. And then, of course, we've got the cattle mutilations. Again, I just didn't realize how involved that was. We've been talking to witnesses, and it's way bigger than what I ever thought it would be. And as I look at Brazos Valley, there just seems to be more reports of everything. We've got Skinwalkers, we've got Bigfoots, we've got Dogman, we've got ghosts and hauntings, and then you've got just everything else. UFOs. God, I've seen so many UFOs recently. Okay, so let me just define UFO. So sometimes when people hear UFO, they go, "Oh, they're talking about little green men from wherever." Yeah, him, and oh God, this camera's backwards, and him. So if you're watching, there's a couple aliens behind me in different corners of the room. So yeah, we caught them trying to do some things they weren't supposed to do. Just kidding. Anyways, yeah, we're not talking about little green men. We're just talking about something that is unknown to us. So I just can't say, oh, well, that's a plane or that's a helicopter or that's a this or that or whatever. The things I'm about to share with you have happened to me in the last 2 months, and a lot of it's happened to me in the last 3 weeks. I guess because I'm paying more attention to the skies. And for some reason, it keeps happening when I'm driving. I don't understand why I keep seeing things while I'm driving. So let me go into this real quick, and then we'll move on. First thing I saw, driving to work the other day, I was looking out, and the moon. This is just recently. This is like 3 or 4 days ago. The moon, you could see the moon, and it was like, you could see just a sliver of the one side. It wasn't a full moon. It was like a tenth of a moon or whatever they call it, 16th of a moon. It was just like a sliver. And I'm sitting there watching it go, oh, cool, And what was weird was it looked smaller than the moon. The moon was like smaller. It was like baseball size almost. And as I'm sitting there watching it, the light went from the side, that was on, and it slipped around to the bottom only, like a smiley face. And I'm like, what in the world just happened? And I'm looking at it, I'm going, what in the heck? And it felt intelligent. So I'm like, okay. And by the time I pulled over, that thing had basically pulled itself like backwards into the clouds. It almost like a cloaked. And I was just in awe. I was like, what in the world just happened there? Like I said, it just felt intelligent, like it knew I was watching it. And I've not seen anything like that since. Now I've seen the moon several times. And the other couple instances I had as well seemed to be when I was driving. I was on my way to work, home from work, and I'm on from noon to midnight, but sometimes I work till 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning the next morning, sometimes a little later, depending on what I'm doing and where I'm going. If you don't know, sorry, my allergies are going crazy. And for some reason, I sit down here and my allergies start going nuts. So if you didn't know, I travel pretty much all over Texas and drop crews off at different places, mainly at night. So I'm constantly kind of keeping an eye on the sky and seeing if I see anything. And we see weird things on the road. I mean, people report Bigfoots crossing the road in a lot of the places I drive, and Dogman as well. And so I'm always on the lookout for anything strange. That one time driving up to Longview, we drove right by a bunch of tree structures right next to the road. And I don't think that was somebody's property. I wish I had a crew with me, and I wish I would have pulled over. They probably would have laughed their heads off at me, but I wish I would have pulled over real quick and GPS to where it was, because now it's all overgrown and I have not been able to find it. I've been up there like 7 or 8 times since then. I've been I have to pay attention to the road. I can't look to my right as I'm driving up there, but I've been looking for it. I can't find it. So maybe next fall it'll come back. I don't know. Maybe they went through and cleared it. I don't know. Maybe somebody cleared it, or the landowner cleared it. I don't know. Maybe they did it on purpose. But I just actually met a lady from Texas A&M. She lives in our community, and I have some questions for her about how these trees are bending over in the middle of the night. I want to make sure that it's truly something possibly Bigfoots are doing. I just want to make sure. My wife and I are both, well, she's a skeptical believer, and I'm a believer who's a skeptic, if you will. I'm more of a believer, but I have a skeptical side too, and she's more of a skeptical person who has a little bit of belief in her about things. She has to experience it, which I always tell you guys, you have to experience it for yourself. So that same thing goes with these UFOs, or I call them UFOs, but I just don't know what they were. I can't say they weren't some kind of, government, thing or whatever. I don't want to talk about that too much because the last time I did, not only was my YouTube channel deleted, my Facebook account was deleted, and my computer was wiped. So I don't want to talk about that too much. Anyways, bear with me. I keep looking down because I want to make sure I follow my notes and stay on track here. So as I was driving home again another night, just been to Fort Worth, came home, and there was some major thunderstorms going on here. We did have a couple of tornadoes in our area. Anyway, so I started seeing weird lightning. The whole trip home from Fort Worth back to her and back to Brian, there was lightning in the sky only. There was still some zigzag lightning hitting the ground, ground to sky lightning, as they call it. But this lightning kept going like in circles, like in egg shapes, and then also kind of in saucer shapes. And so I thought that was weird. And it kept going across the sky. The zigzag lightning kept going across the sky, which is probably not unusual. But I finally got back to Hearn, got in my car, started driving home. I got about 4 or 5 miles from Hearn and coming up that hill on the 6th. And I look up and I see there's a cloud in front of a cloud, if you will. And then the cloud behind it flashes with lightning, and the cloud in front of it got silhouetted. And if you don't know what silhouetted means, it means the light lit up. And there was some kind of, kind of a saucer-shaped thing in there. It was massive. And so I was actually talking to one of the witnesses that we're going to be interviewing for the cattle mutilation show, and she got a picture of something very similar. So I was excited about that. By the time I keep getting out of my car to take a quick picture of these things in a safe spot, so I don't get in trouble for, sitting there with my phone up in my car while I'm driving. Essentially, it was gone. It was a quick flash. You could see it, and then it was gone. It was just black again. I was like, ah. So I actually did pull over about a second or two later onto the siding and looked up, and I waited for another flash lightning, but it never came back. So I don't know what ended up happening with that. I was driving to work. I think I was driving to work actually around 10 o'clock at night. And I looked over and I saw what looked like the moon, this big yellow spear, right? Just in this big yellow ball. And I'm like, oh, cool, it's the moon. But it was orangish yellow color. It wasn't like a normal, like the light blue, white it normally is. And so essentially I was watching it, I kind of glancing out of my corner of my eye at it, and I turned, and as I looked at it, it just basically elongated. The moon went from a sphere to like elongated, and then to a sphere, and then disappeared. And I didn't see the moon for like 2 or 3 more nights after that. I'm like, okay, I don't know what that was either. So recently, and this will be on the show, I think this was like 2 weeks ago, I was driving home and I look up and I see this weird triangular thing in the clouds. And I'm like, okay, that's not the moon. So I watched it for a while. It takes me about 22 to 28 minutes to get home from work from her. So I'm driving up the 6, coming up Harvey Mitchell, turn onto our street, pull into the driveway, look up, it's still there. But I'd moved from one side of the sky to the other side of the sky. And I'm like, okay, so it must be moving across. And it was not a Chinese balloon, by the way. Anyways, so I took out my camera and actually videotaped it. And so I recorded a quick little blurb or whatever I said, and then I took some pictures of it, and I looked at it, and it's a triangle. And so 2 or 3 nights after that, I took pictures of the moon in the clouds and stuff like that, just to debunk it. They don't look the same. And I'll show you that on the show. So, okay. All right. So we were talking about aliens and UFOs, and basically what's going on with the different cattle mutilations here. Let me bring up a map here. Let me share my screen. Oops. Let me go into the Google Maps. All right, so you're looking at kind of our area. This is the College Station area right here. And we've been talking about the Brazos Valley for a while. There seems to be a cluster of activity all throughout the Brazos Valley here. And if you go up, I mean, you can go almost all the way to Waco with this, and then all the way over to Centerville and kind of beyond up to Jacksonville, if you will. There's these clusters of everything paranormal. Now, this includes UFOs, possible UFOs, possible hauntings. Well, for me, I know they're real, but I'm just saying for a skeptic or a non-believer, possible. And then there's Bigfoot reports, which, I knew in the center of Texas there was scattered Bigfoot reports. Our area, we still live in a very forested area, and as you go up towards Waco, it gets even more forested. And then as you go kind of east of Waco and College Station, and even Houston, it gets more forested. You can see all the dark green here. This is all thick forest areas, and there's homes and mixed in with this. But this chunk of land on this side of Texas is a little bit more thickly forested. Now, you go down to Bastrop, it's also very thickly forested. That's south of us. And there are some Bigfoot reports there. You guys have seen, I don't know if you've seen the videos of the Bigfoot research I did down there. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of strange reports in this area. And if you look just outside of Houston, again, another big cluster, much more of a cluster. It's a bigger area. But so this is the area we're talking about, where all of these pins are here. If you're looking at the map, you're looking from College Station up to Jacksonville, kind of towards Fort Worth and Waco, towards Waco and Fort Worth. But this is the area I'm focusing on right now. Well, let's just kind of keep this here. So Centerville, Madisonville, North Zolch, Hearn, Bremond, and let's see. I'm going to call this Cossie. Now, I've removed all the stops I make at night with the crews, but you can see there's all kinds of hot spots for paranormal activity. Now, be that ghosts, be that hauntings, be that Bigfoots, be that Dogman, be that Skinwalkers. Yes, there are Skinwalkers in this area. Not very many reports, but there are a few. So let's talk about what's doing the cattle mutilations, and then we'll kind of move on and wrap this up. And I'm going to go down the rabbit hole. I'm going to go even way, way further down the rabbit hole than normal. If Amanda was in here, she'd be really rolling her eyes and laughing at me. But so is Bigfoot a candidate for cattle mutilation? And I know my Bigfoot fans out there are just like either laughing and just rolling their eyes, or they're like typing right now. What are you talking about, Matt? You're absolutely nuts. But yeah, I mean, I'm a paranormal investigator. What do you expect? So this is just all theory, and I'm just making them a suspect, if you will. Who's to say that some Bigfoots don't go after like eyes and tongues and the nether regions of an animal like that? Could a bigger Bigfoot pick up that whole animal and take it and walk away? Yeah. But a smaller one, maybe a juvenile or a little bit older, could they have taken their fingers and maybe they have, let's just say they have claws. Could they have cut with their fingers around in a circular pattern and pulled these chunks of meat off of these animals? I know this is highly unlikely, and everybody's like, you're nuts. But I mean, they could definitely be a possibility. There are a lot of the areas where there are pens, where there's been cattle mutilations, there's Bigfoot reports. So, when we were out with John and I and another couple of people were out, I heard a tree knock real close to where we were. We were right next to cattle. I don't want to say that they're stealing multiple cattle, but they might be stealing one or two here and there if they're hungry enough. What would you do if you were starving? Would you go into somebody's yard, into somebody's farm and steal something if you just had to absolutely eat and they wouldn't give you anything, or you didn't feel comfortable going to them? I mean, I don't know. Okay, so of course there's aliens. Are aliens doing it? I think that could be a much stronger possibility. Again, I've seen a lot of strange things in the sky. I'm not going to call them aliens. I'm not going to say they're from another planet or anything. But at this point, I just don't know what they are. The things I've seen have been strange. For me, I'm scratching my head and maybe leaning more towards Big Brother, or the GOV, if you will. Maybe they're testing out some new technology. I mean, if you go back into some of my other podcasts, you've heard me talk about Hitler finding a down saucer. I know the Russians probably have. There's Roswell. Who's to say we haven't, reverse engineered a alien spaceship? The only question I have is, why would they be mutilating cattle? What would be the purpose of that? There's another theory, and again, take this with a grain of salt. It's just a theory that aliens and humans are working together, and they're looking at different things on different animals, because this has not just happened to cows. It's happened to deer, horses, and other animals as well, and similar things: eyeballs missing, tongues missing, reproductive organs missing. Excuse me. If you were, if scientists were visiting another planet and they found animals, do I think they would just take those organs? No, probably not. They'd probably take the whole animal if they could. But what if they couldn't? What organs would they want to know about? So, there's a theory. It's just a theory that maybe they're coming down and taking those to see, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, but maybe they're running tests on them. Maybe they're trying to use them to create something. I don't know. Anyways, maybe they just like that type of meat. I have no idea. All right, so let's talk about skinwalkers. Skinwalkers are, I don't know. I mean, could there still be skinwalkers around here? I think there's a video of one in Texas recently. I'll have to look this up maybe on the next podcast. But could skinwalkers be coming in and mutilating the cattle? Maybe because they're upset that, maybe the cattle ranches are on land that they used to be on. Maybe they're eating this kind of, maybe they're eating those items. Maybe they're using them for a ritual. And then there's everybody's saying, oh, it's just a cult. It's a religious cult. Could it be cults that are coming in and somehow, tranquilizing the animal, maybe somehow picking it up, taking it somewhere else, and basically mutilating it and then bringing it back and just dumping the body? That's definitely a possibility. However, a lot of the people that I've talked to, and I've talked about 3 or 4 different ranchers, have said the cattle the cattle are not. They would hear what was going on. They have dogs out there. They have other things. The other cattle would be making a lot of noise. There would definitely be some kind of warning that something's going on. The other weird fact is that these animals, they're just leaving the carcasses to rot, but yet they're not being picked apart by vultures or other predatory animals. They won't touch them, and that's kind of strange to me. Why wouldn't they touch them? If you went out and carved up a deer, you caught a deer, you were lucky enough to get a deer, and you left the entrails and stuff like that, the stuff that you weren't going to use, you would come back in a couple of days and it would probably be just bones. Most predators would take advantage of that and eat that stuff. But for some reason, they're just they're not getting eaten. So um, we've had a few witnesses come forward, and we're going to be interviewing them for the show as well. Let me stop sharing. Wait, let's see, stop sharing. Okay, you can see Mama sitting over there on the couch. So yeah, we basically are going to be going out and checking out a lot of cool things. Again, welcome to all of our new YouTube followers and also to our Rumble followers. Thank you guys so much for subscribing to our channel. If you guys wouldn't mind doing me a favor, give us a thumbs up and stuff like that. The new shows should be coming out here in a couple of weeks, I'm hoping. We're getting closer and closer. I just want to make sure that they're a major step above what we've been doing. And so, like I said, it's been a lot of work to make sure. Number one, it's hard to document paranormal activity. It's very hard. Yeah, you can see a cage light up, or you might hear something, tree knock or whatever, but it's really hard to get the Bigfoot on video. They don't seem to cooperate very much. They're kind of camera shy. So getting all that stuff, and same with UFOs and stuff like that, getting that stuff to actually cooperate is a little difficult. But like I said, it's a lot more involved than what I know, than I've ever had anything before, any project I've tried to put together before. So it's kind of a learning curve. And once I kind of figure this out, it should, hopefully once I get Amanda's going to be helping me with this project. Once we get a kind of a pattern or a way of doing things that we want to do it should be much easier to produce them. We'll know from A to Z what we need, what shots we need, and all that stuff. And so I'll shut up about the show. Also, to our Rumble fans and to our followers and our fans there, I apologize. For some reason, YouTube is not releasing videos to Rumble. For some reason, I've checked it; it's activated, but for some reason, the podcasts are not coming straight over to the Rumble page in 2 or 3 days like they were. I noticed the last podcast wasn't up there 2 weeks later. So I finally just posted it. So you probably saw that come up today, today, because this will probably come out tomorrow. Anyways, Amanda and I are going to get into scheduling here in a minute or two, and we're going to start putting together investigations. Our focus is going to shift from all these podcasts, doing 3 or 4 podcasts a week, to probably just doing a couple, 3. What I'm thinking about doing with the podcast is shortening them. Maybe I'm laughing because I have a hard time shortening podcasts. I get into something and I just, I'm very passionate about the paranormal. And so I get into it and I just kind of ramble on. And because I've had so many experiences with the paranormal, it's just something I can't help myself. So I'm going to try and keep them 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes max from here on out instead of an hour. I don't know how long this one's going to be, but yeah, I want to shorten the podcast. I've tried to do them in the car. I'm just sitting in the car, but it's just too loud. There's too much going on, and it just doesn't sound very good. I have to turn the phone kind of up towards me so you can hear me, and I don't want to be sitting in there with a mic. Because people probably wonder what the heck I'm doing and stuff like that. So I'm going to try and do them from here. In between shooting the shows and basically working full time, I'm going to try and get more of them out. I'm going to try and get more guests on here too. I have a lot of friends that are also Bigfoot researchers. So we're going to start doing interviews with them about their research and stuff like that. So that's coming down the pike as well for all my Bigfoot fans. Tomorrow I'm going to try and do another Bigfoot podcast for you guys. So you got a couple of podcasts out this week. And then, like I said, starting next week, I'm going to try and shorten the podcasts a little bit because it takes me 3 or 4 hours sometimes longer to go through and re-edit everything. And sometimes, Mama Dog and the rest of them like to be a little noisy and a little crude while I am talking. I don't know. I start talking and they start barking. It's the weirdest thing. But yeah. So, also experiment behind me. You're seeing, I don't know if you can see the crayons and the Lego guy. There's actually coloring books behind me on the table. Well, if you don't know, we rearranged the office. I'm going to continue to rearrange the office. I'm going to make that table my gear table so I can put things out. If I move my chair, you can see how dirty, I'm not dirty, but how much gear is actually sitting on the table right now for, basically doing the show. But I need to go through and clean that off. The dolls are actually to my right over here. You can't see them anymore. I'm gonna move the dolls back over there. I'm gonna move the toys that they have back there. And then up above me, there's actually a camera facing down. So I can see not only, just past where my chair is, I can see the couch, I can see the table, I can actually see out the door as well, because we've had a little shadow person out there. I think it's a little girl. And then there's also been some EVPs. Sometimes we get EVPs on the podcast too. So if you're listening through, it is not uncommon to get an EVP of a voice or something that isn't mine on here. Now, Amanda has a TV on in the background. I think this actually cancels that noise out, which is good. But every once in a while, something will interject onto the podcast through the mic here. So, anyways, some more short videos coming out with maybe me working with the kids. I'll turn the spirit box on, see if I can get the kids to communicate, maybe light up the K2. We'll be basically setting some K2s out where the camera up there can see them, and we'll do some more short videos here shortly. Maybe while we're filming the show, we'll do some short videos as well, and so you'll start getting some more videos on here. So, anyways, that's what's going on with us. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick wrap up. We'll get back into the more paranormal stuff here shortly. Tomorrow, like I said, Bigfoot podcast, and then from here on out, we'll try and get a couple podcasts a week, maybe every like Wednesday and Friday or something, so you guys have something to listen to, and we'll make them a little shorter. So let us know what you want to talk about in the comments down below. If you're enjoying the podcast, please give us the thumbs up. If you're not, please just send me a message down below. Please keep the comments PG rated. There are kids that watch this podcast. There are kids that watch our YouTube channel, especially for Bigfoot stuff. So if you put a comment in there that's inappropriate, it will not be shown. Okay. I don't mind people that are skeptic or say, hey, give feedback, whether it's positive or negative. But just please keep it PG rated. I don't want these little kids being exposed to negative comments. So, all right, guys, one last thing. We just recently had somebody contact us for help off of our podcast. So if you need paranormal help, doesn't matter if you're in Texas or somewhere else, feel free to contact us. If you're in Texas and you're not too far away, we don't charge for our services. We don't ask anybody for anything to come out and check out what's going on and maybe even do an investigation. And that may even lead to a show later on if you guys agree to that. Remember that any private investigation we do, which we do a lot, will not be part of a show unless whoever's wherever we're going is whoever we're working with agrees to it. So, and they have to sign a waiver saying that it's okay for us to basically put it on YouTube. Anyways, so yeah, if you need help, please contact us. If you're outside Texas and you need help, it depends on how far away you are. We'll try and get you somebody from your own state. If you just can't get anybody, it's drivable, then maybe what we'll do is we'll come out and help you for a small fee, depending on what it costs to get out to you. So, but if you're in Texas, again, we do not charge. If we can get somebody to help you from your state, they shouldn't be charging you either. If you're in this field, you should be doing this field for the research, and that's why I do it. Amanda does it because she enjoys, not only the craziness that I create, but she also enjoys actually experiencing things. So again, everything that we do is 100% real. There's no, I think I heard or whatever. I want it to be 100% real at all times. And look into the hallway. Something just is peeking around the corner there. Hello, just about this height of the light socket. So I've noticed a curious little kid in here recently, which is great. I want them to be happy and have fun and stuff like that. And you notice up here, we've got, if you're watching, we've added some more stuff to our shelves up there. We're bringing in all kinds of stuff. Oh, I'm sorry to keep rambling on. If you're in the Bryan College Station area or around our area within 34 miles or whatever, if you don't mind driving, we're going to be trying to set up a booth at First Friday in downtown Bryan. We're going to try and start doing those as much as we can, as long as it doesn't interfere with our schedule for the show. We also will be attending other events in San Antonio, Houston, possibly, and we're going to be going out and basically doing meet and greets. We'll have some cool stuff for you guys to win. You can kind of see the board back here behind the alien. He's kind of protecting that, and then we'll have some stuff that people can buy. I'm working on getting a new hat vendor, a new t-shirt vendor. I think we're going to keep the designs a little bit less of this. I think more like the Bigfoot hat you always see me wearing. Bigfoot, alien, people really like those hats. So I think that's basically what we're going to have. And so maybe we'll see you out there. Anyways, you guys have a good one, and we will catch you on the next one.